This is the week of our practical exam. I just thought you might appreciate a little advice from one of my favorite authors. Hey everybody, it is week 6, this is CIT 12, and this week is going to be entirely different than every other week we've ever done. This week is our practical exam on Word, alright? So you've done 3 labs in Word, you've learned a bunch of skills in those labs, I hope. And so this week is sort of the culminating experience for Word. After this week, we're going to move on to Excel, which is a different program and a whole different way of thinking, and so we're going to move on. But this is sort of your last experience in Word where we get to see what you've learned, all right? So, the practical exam. Because this is an online class, right, we can't do exams like we would normally do in a normal class. I can't just have you sit down for 2 hours and do something with, no notes, no books, and figure out what you know. And so, because you're at home, you have access to all these different resources, this exam is really more of a project, right? It's a project that's going to show all the different skills you've learned over the last 3 weeks. And so, it's a little bit longer. It's a little bit more involved. And because of that, I have cleared everything off of the schedule for this week, all right? So there is no reading, there is no quiz, there is no discussion, there are obviously no labs. This is it. It's just the practical exam for this week. All right, so you can spend all of your time focused on that and getting that done. Now, here's the thing. It's a long exam, so make sure you give yourself enough time to finish it. But it's an assignment like all other assignments, which means that you are going to get your 1 week late period. This is especially helpful for people who are still working on the last Word lab, right? Like you may still be trying to finish stuff from last week. No problem, you still have this week to do that. In fact, you probably want to finish the 3rd lab in Word before you begin the practical exam. It'll probably save you some time. But needless to say, you not only have this week, you do have your 1 week late period. Now, I expect you to be done by Sunday with the practical exam. And next week, we're going to start Excel, and I'll warn you a little bit, Excel is harder than Word, and so it'd be really good if you were ready to go for that, but needless to say, if you've got stuff going on in your life, you've got the flexibility to pull this into next week if you need to, all right? I'll talk about the process of how you do it in a second, but I just kind of wanted to tell you that straight away, right? You've got some time. This works just like every other assignment. You still have your 1 week late period, all right? Now that being said, what's the process? How do you actually do this exam, all right? There is a whole video showing you step by step what you need to do in the exam. I mean, it doesn't go through like all the different questions, right? But the process, there's a 3-part process. You have to download the starting files. You then have to work with the starting files in Word on your computer, and then you have to upload your final Word document that you've been working on for grading to the system, all right? So it's a 3-step process. There's some questions usually involved with all this, and so like I said, I made a video to show you the process of downloading those files, how you work on them. In fact, I think the first couple questions I do for you, so you can kind of see what's going on, but you'll get the gist. And then the upload process, where you're uploading just the one file that you've been working on for grading. So, to start with, you're going to need Microsoft Office. Now, most of you already have Microsoft Office. It's a pretty common program to have installed on a computer. But maybe you don't have Microsoft Office, or maybe you have an old version of Microsoft Office and it doesn't look like the 2013 version that we've been doing in the simulations. Not to worry. Every single Fresno City College student gets Microsoft Office for free. We've set that up through your Microsoft accounts, which you use for student email. So there is a video in the week 6 folder. It shows you exactly how to download Microsoft Office from the Fresno City College website through your student email. You may have already found it. And download that, install it, and you're good to go. You'll have the latest version. Now, And so that should hopefully take care of everybody. If for some reason you don't have a computer at home, although I have to imagine if you don't have a computer at home, this has been a very difficult class for you since it's an online class. But if you're in a situation where something's going on, you don't actually need internet for this because it's not a simulation. You just need to download the files. You'll need internet for that, and you'll need internet to upload the files. But you could technically go to campus, download the files, work on them at home without internet, and then just go back to campus to upload the files, right? You only need the internet for the download and upload parts, not for the actual working on it parts. But if for any reason you don't have access to a computer, we have labs on campus that have everything installed, ready to go. And so, yeah, definitely, if you need anything in the library, I think it's room LI 118, there's a lab there. Take advantage of that lab. If you don't have a computer, you need access to one. There is a small subgroup of you who use Macintoshes. If you use a Mac, you can do everything on the exam, right? You will download the files just like normal. Word files on the Mac, Word files on the PC, they work exactly the same. They're the same files. You are good to go. The problem is that your interface is going to look entirely different than everything we've seen in the simulations because you've been learning the PC version of Word, which is the one that predominates in businesses, and if you get a job somewhere, chances are that's the one you're going to have to use. So I know why we chose that, but needless to say, yours is just going to look different. All the options will be there, they'll just be under different menus, and so you have to try and find stuff. If that process becomes too much of a hassle for you, then go ahead and just go to the library when you're on campus at some point and use one of our computers, and you'll be taken care of. Otherwise, you can still find everything, and you can work on stuff. And if it's like, well, okay, I know where to find this one feature on the PC, but I can't find it on the Mac, you can just save your file, take your file to one of our computer labs, and then just do that one thing where you know where to find it on the menu, all right? But in general, Google helps. Just, unfortunately, your interface is going to look entirely different. There's one other small thing. There may be some templates and options that are different on the Mac versus the PC. So it may say like, oh, choose color scheme 3 or something like that. And so then you choose color scheme 3 on the Mac, but it's actually different colors than what's on the PC. Don't worry about that. If you're a Mac user, hopefully I've got you on my list. And so I can go in and manually check those to make sure that you're getting the correct grade, even though it'll say, oh, you chose the wrong color scheme, but it's actually the right color scheme. It's just different colors because the Mac version was made at a different time. All right. So small things like that, don't worry about it. But the big stuff you should be able to do. All right. So that's Mac users. Everybody has access to Office. In fact, if you're a Mac user, you have access to the latest version of Office for Mac through your student email account. So be sure to grab it. Be sure to grab it besides this class. I mean, it's free software, so you should use it. Next thing, this process, right? When you download the files, I just feel like I need to tell people so that you don't feel like you're being entrapped. When you download those files are digitally signed with your MyIT Lab account. Doesn't matter what computer you're on. When you download the files and you're logged into your account, those files are going to be digitally signed for your account. Whenever you do stuff to those files, it's going to take note that you're doing these things. Now, the reason I say that is that if you happen to download the files, do some work, or even don't do some work, you just share the starting files with somebody else, it's going to flag you and the other person as cheating. I just want you to know that feature exists. We can actually determine with pretty amazing accuracy like what specific steps somebody else did and what steps you did. So all I'm saying is don't cheat, right? You're at home, it's online, there's a lot of trust involved in this, the honor system or whatever, but the honor system has some watchdogs. So just don't cheat. If you want to talk with friends about it, hey, how did you do this, right? I can't prevent that. And in fact, I don't even know that I'd want to prevent it. You know, the act of talking things out is actually really, really good pedagogy, right? It's really good for learning things. So anyway, yeah, don't cheat. We'll notice stuff going on. All right. Then you're working on files. Here's how the starting files, once you get them, you'll have one file that is a PDF, or sorry, you'll have one file that's a Word document that has all of the instructions, right? It'll have a list of things to do. Go boldface this word, set this paragraph to right justify. Over the course of this project, you're going to build a letter, a resume, a small newsletter. There's going to be lots of different parts in this one document that you're creating. All right, so you have the file with the instructions and you have the file that you're working on, right? The starting file that has a bunch of information in it, but you need to add stuff, all right? And so that's the process. You're looking at the instructions, preferably in order, because if you do it out of order, it may ask you to make changes to something that doesn't exist yet because you didn't create it. So try to do the steps in order, and then you're working on your starting file. And as you're working on your starting file, new for this semester, I have a third file available to you. You'll see it for download in my IT lab. It is a PDF, which is a portable document format. So long as you have Adobe Reader, you'll be able to open it. And I think pretty much every computer in the world has Adobe Reader. If not, it'll ask you, do you want to update your Adobe Reader? Say yes. You'll need PDFs in your life. But what the PDF is, it's basically like a picture of a document, something that could be read on any computer. Now, the reason it's a PDF and not a Word file is that we don't want people copying and pasting and cheating, right? But that PDF, because it's flattened, which is to say that it's not an editable document, but what it does is it gives you a picture of what the file is supposed to look like. So you can use all three documents as you're working. You're looking at the instructions, it's telling you to do something. It'll be very similar to something it told you to do back in the labs. And so then you make your change to that document, and if you're unsure, look at the document, look at the PDF, and see, does my letter look right? Oh, you know, when they say they want this like vertical black line, where's that? How's that supposed to look? Oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. You know, looking at the PDF, it may help you as you're making changes. All right, so hopefully that helps. There's a PDF showing you what the final product is supposed to look like. I don't know why we didn't think to do this earlier. Apologies to students from past semesters, not that they'll ever see this, but it's like having a cookbook. It's really nice to have a picture of what the thing is supposed to look like when you're done, because then you can kind of work backwards somewhat. All right, so that's the process of working on the files. You're going to have your instructions, the document you're editing, and a picture of what it's supposed to look like when you're done. Then the last step, you upload only the document that you were working on. All right, you upload it, it will grade it automatically. That automatic grade, I will then later on go and adjust based on any information that we get about, you know, potentially some things that were misgraded. It's actually fairly accurate, but if you have a question, feel free to holler at me. If you want to, you can actually click on your grade in my IT lab, and there's an option to download a report with write-up. That report with write-up will actually point out everything you did wrong in the document, and it's kind of odd because it checks every little thing. So when it deducts points, it'll deduct like, you know, oh yeah, you lost you know, 0.08624 points on this, you know, like because you didn't, I don't know, change the font size or something. Point being, it's very, very detailed, but that may give you an idea of maybe what went wrong. All right. That being said, that's the general process. There's a whole video showing you how to do it. I just wanted you to know that one, you have your additional week that's still there. You have a picture of what the document's supposed to look like now. And so that's hopefully going to be helpful to you. And yeah, and you have access to Microsoft Office for free through your student email. And there's a second video showing you how to do that in the week 6 folder. All right, that's it. It's just one big assignment this week. In the past, grades have been actually fairly good on this. So if you're nervous, if you're panicking, don't panic. There's nothing to panic about. Like I said, scores are usually pretty good. People generally do fairly well, so I'm confident you will as well. All right? If you have any questions, email me, and yeah, I'll see you online.